Because Yoon Jae-young had reached the central area of the poison fog, a pop-up notification appeared. The third round of the bamboo spear battle, the final showdown, begins now. Let the battle commence. It turns out Cassius was once defeated by Yoon Jae-young. Yoon Jae-young's emergence trampled on her 10 years of effort since an RPG game that swept the world 20 years ago. Until Ikaros went offline, the player named Cassius had never fallen from the top spot. Until the player named Dex appeared, Cassius was utterly defeated, feeling as if her 10 years were wasted. Then, a move by Yoon Jae-young made her break down on the spot. The number 1 player, Dex's account, was logged out at that moment, and her pride of being at the top for 10 years was destroyed by Yoon Jae-young in just one day. Now, Cassius's hidden skill in Arcadia is called Quick Pull, which means mastery over all equipment. This allowed her to bring her Ikaros combat style to this game. Yes, Dex, this is my chance to surpass you. But Yoon Jae-young simply didn't give her a chance. As Yoon Jae-young stepped into the final round of the bamboo spear battle, the last round quietly began. Since the opponent was her, then angelic divine descent activated, choosing the heavenly throne all-weapon master Calypso. A pop-up notification appeared. Divine descent successful. Calypso's ultimate skill is called King of 10,000 Soldiers. Yoon Jae-young had only 1 minute to adapt to the new character's abilities. Calypso's ability is to freely transform the weapon in hand, from daggers to long swords to shields. There's nothing he can't change into. Yoon Jae-young's flurry of maneuvers left Satan and Michael astonished at the sight. Satan exclaimed, even if Calypso himself were here, perhaps he couldn't match the master's weapon switching speed. Yoon Jae-young muttered to himself, alright, practice is over, let the final battle begin. In the next instant, Yoon Jae-young disappeared from his spot. When he reappeared, Cassius was forced into a defensive block. Cassius gritted her teeth and stared at her archenemy. Listening to Yoon Jae-young's taunts, Cassius defiantly activated her skill Quick Pull, switching through 3 types of weapons in succession, ultimately selecting her prized long sword. Watching the imminent attack, Yoon Jae-young remained calm. His skill King of 10,000 Soldiers activated, and like Cassius, he too formed a long sword to complete the block. Cassius incredulously demanded, Dex, are you deliberately using the same skills as me? Following several weapon switch standoffs, Yoon Jae-young consistently had the upper hand. Repeated clashes led to Cassius exposing a gap on her side. A moment of dazzling sword light burst on the ceiling. Cassius roared angrily, is Dex deliberately using the same skills as me? Yoon Jae-young, looking down from above, cheered for Cassius, but this only made her more furious, launching a fierce and unstoppable assault. Though both used the same skills, Yoon Jae-young's King of 10,000 Soldiers was more domineering. He could switch equipment by merely transforming it, while Cassius needed time to switch, so Cassius immediately created a distance of 100 meters between them. She thrust a bamboo spear that could cause fatal wounds into the ground, and then extended her left hand to summon weapons. Yoon Jae-young frowned slightly. What exactly is she planning? In the next moment, Cassius drew an ancient ceremonial sword from its scabbard. It sounded like a dragon emerging from the sea, immersing one instantly in a surge of battle spirit. Yoon Jae-young's expression became serious. As he contemplated his next move, a nearly invisible blade of light grazed his neck, its force breaking through the air, a stunning display of Cassius's final killer move. A pop-up notification appeared. You have sustained critical injuries, including fractures and bleeding. Negative conditions are now active. Since it's the bamboo spear battle, no damage other than that from a bamboo spear could be fatal, but it could still afflict the player with negative conditions. In the next instant, Cassius disappeared from the spot. Dex, the tables have turned. Are you ready to give up retaliating? Although Yoon Jae-young was frustrated, he had to admit that defense was all he could do for now. It must be that the sword had terrifying attributes to boost her speed so significantly. At that moment, all-weapon master Calypso attempted to reach out to Yoon Jae-young. Michael also received a message. Michael relayed to Yoon Jae-young, Master, Calypso has asked me to tell you that the sword that struck you is his legacy sword, lost in Arcadia to choose a successor. Besides bestowing a special class, it also comes with a skill-transmitting necklace. As the player grows stronger, more legacy skills from the necklace are unlocked, but he's currently unable to sense the necklace's presence, which is why he wants to speak with you directly. Yoon Jae-young finally understood why Cassius's skills were so similar to those of the Celestial Throne. With no other choice, Yoon Jae-young first tried to inquire, Cassius, you got that sword from a quest, right? Cassius immediately became wary. How did you guess that? I got this sword as a reward from a strange wanderer. Is there a problem? A pop-up notification appeared. Calypso is excited. Ask her about my necklace. Yoon Jae-young continued, so Cassius, besides the sword, you also got a necklace, right? Cassius was startled. How does Dex know everything so clearly? She explained, the necklace was labeled as unidentified equipment, and I found out that identifying it required purchasing a scroll. I thought the necklace was plain, so it wasn't worth the money to identify it. Eventually, I sold it along with other miscellaneous items, making 15 copper coins. Calypso was furious upon hearing this, but could only send frantic pop-ups to Yoon Jae-young. However, the pop-ups could not soothe Calypso's emotions. At this point, Calypso even volunteered appeared to use his own plausibility to fully descend within Yoon Jae-young's body. Yoon Jae-young was fine with it. But Michael, is this really possible? After some consideration, Michael agreed to Calypso's request. I, Archangel Michael, permit all Weapon Master Calypso to temporarily intervene. In the next instant, Yoon Jae-young's body was permeated by a mighty divine sword aura. Yoon Jae-young was amazed. Is this what a true divine descent is supposed to be? Cassius shivered unconsciously. A pop-up notification appeared. Calypso's full divine descent successful. Body sovereignty temporarily transferred. Yoon Jae-young switched to spectator mode. Yoon Jae-young, now brimming with murderous intent, said, I heard you bundled and sold that necklace. Despite my best intentions, you short-sighted fool. The next instant, Yoon Jae-young's body was suffused with dazzling golden divine power. Dozens of divine weapons arrayed around him, exuding an unrivaled presence that made Cassius's soul tremble. She was unable to move her body. At this moment, Yoon Jae-young was like a god descended to earth, raising his majestic giant sword and smashing it down towards Cassius. Due to the rules of the bamboo spear battle, although Cassius could only be thrust into severe states like near death, exhaustion, and critical injury, her body had to endure the agony of being torn apart. This strike contained the ultimate essence of swordsmanship. Calypso, seething with rage, exclaimed, You disgrace! It seems you truly are ignorant. Your skill quick pull. Do you even realize it was not solely for mastering all weapons? It embodies my fervent hope of mastering the world's weapons with my sweat and blood. When it is perfected, the skill will evolve into king of 10,000 soldiers. Cassius looked perplexed. Was Yoon Jae-young really not making things out? In the moment you discarded the necklace, you lost the teachings I left for you. You could have become an exceptional swordsman, but you chose to sell it to a peddler. After swallowing hard, Cassius asked, Dex, no, may I ask who you really are? As Calypso, who had been furious, saw the sword, his expression softened. Long time no see, my partner. For the first time, Cassius realized her sword possessed profound emotions. It whined softly, as if responding to the millennia of longing. Partner, we are fortunate to have met someone noble, allowing me to use another's body to see you again. Calypso said with a gentle smile, though your current wielder is slow and foolish, at least her intentions are good, and I don't have the time to find you another. Cassius was stunned. He's actually talking to my sword. At this moment, the divine power of Calypso within Yoon Jae-young was gradually fading. Calypso admonished the sword, my old friend, please take good care of this foolish successor. A pop-up notification then appeared. The old nameless sword wants to complain, but swears to be understanding of the situation. The old nameless sword accepts you as its owner. The old nameless sword has sworn its allegiance. The item's hidden skill has been revealed. The item's rank has been updated. Hidden quest. You've received the quest Find the Lost Necklace. The moment Cassius acknowledged the old nameless sword as her master, she could clearly sense the emotions of the sword. She then realized what true unity between a person and a sword meant, and how foolish she had been to sell the necklace. Calypso chuckled, my inept disciple, don't disappoint me again. A pop-up warning appeared. Insufficient plausibility. Full descent of Calypso has been revoked. Yoon Jae-young has regained control of his body. Yoon Jae-young felt enlightened. So this is the true power of a heavenly throne. Cassius finally understood that the Yoon Jae-young who had been possessed by a god was her master. The next second, she collapsed to the ground. Yoon Jae-young was surprised. No wonder she didn't fall despite the intensity of the negative effects just now. She was toughing it out. This person really has grit. Since it was a bamboo spear battle, Cassius's character didn't die, but couldn't avoid being heartbreakingly targeted by Yoon Jae-young. Yoon Jae-young pointedly said, the sword and the necklace came as a paired reward. There must have been a hidden quest. That's become a standard in games now. Haven't you played any other games besides Ikaros in the last 10 years? You're such an antique. But Cassius was puzzled. What exactly is your profession? Dex, the person who fought me just now wasn't you. Yoon Jae-young had to pass it off with his possession hidden profession. Then he pointed to the bamboo spear in his hand. We haven't settled our battle yet. Cassius sighed with relief. Dex, you're playing dumb. It will take at least 3 minutes for me to recover from being near death. No doubt, I'll be tortured to death by the incoming poison fog first. So Dex, you win this round. Yoon Jae-young felt it was a pity. It would be great to have a serious duel with you again. Despite the pain, Cassius managed to smile. Next time we meet, I'll definitely be the last one laughing. Yoon Jae-young gripped his bamboo spear tightly. You're quite competitive, woman. Well then, see you next time. With that, Yoon Jae-young decisively eliminated Cassius with his bamboo spear. Pop-up alert. The winner of the bamboo spear battle has been determined. Congratulations to player Dex for the final victory. As the main battles of the bamboo spear battle were live-streamed, numerous championship contenders emerged before the cameras. For instance, Starlight Witch Stella, who was instantly defeated by Yoon Jae-young in a previous strike. The Bamboo Spear Reform Group, which advocated for equality for all, and the strongest championship contender Cassius, who still fell to his hand. Undoubtedly, Dex was the star of the show. In the real world, Yoon Jae-young's Dex ID is also renowned, close to the legend of a god descending to win a 1v5 battle. This time, Yoon Jae-young again won the championship as Dex. The next second, the NPC referee tossed out a mysterious treasure chest containing all the equipment held by the players Yoon Jae-young Jae-young had eliminated. Yoon Jae-young could freely choose any item from it as his reward. Upon opening it, a line of sought-after rare-level equipment was available for his selection. The NPC expected Yoon Jae-young to be surprised, but after searching for a while, he found nothing satisfactory. Yoon Jae-young scoffed. What kind of junk is this? After all, if there's enough plausibility, I could even buy mythological level equipment from Satan and Michael. But when Yoon Jae-young saw a particular item, his pupils dilated, and he began to repeatedly confirm with the NPC, "Can I really choose any one item from the eliminated player's equipment?" Curious, the NPC leaned in to look, and even she was shocked, struggling to speak. Yet, Yoon Jae-young stated emphatically, "This is indeed equipment held by an eliminated player. Great NPC Dokubi and I am. It's definitely okay to choose this, right? You just promised." At this moment, the NPC's CPU was nearly overheating. Due to technical issues, the official broadcast of the equipment selection had its audio cut off, but everyone saw the changing expressions of NPC Dokubi and I am. As the crowd wondered what Yoon Jae-young had chosen, the NPC finally spoke up. According to the rules, this one-hit bamboo spear indeed counts as player equipment. The bamboo spear can completely ignore all magical and physical defenses, and a hit to a vital point can result in instant death of the enemy. It's the only equipment that caught Yoon Jae-young's eye. At this very moment, due to Yoon Jae-young's choice, a board-level meeting was convened at the headquarters of Arcadia. The one-hit kill ability of the bamboo spear can target all creatures in Arcadia, except for bosses. It can even kill NPCs. Then, President Lee Mayan decided to initiate authority intervention, logging into Arcadia with level 2 privileges. Just as she submitted a proposal to adjust the parameters of the bamboo spear weapon, the system rejected the change. Lee Mayan was puzzled. "Alice, please give me an explanation." Pop-up alert. Due to reaching the limit of unjust authority patches targeted at users. Hearing this, Executive Kwon Minghan was shaken. The patch to maximize poison fog damage, aimed at Yoon Jae-young, was also issued by him using level 3 privileges. Seeing the evidence, Lee Mayan laughed ominously on the spot. "Executive Kwon Minghan, I need an explanation from you." At this moment, Yoon Jae-young in the game was holding the one-hit kill bamboo spear fondly. He pondered with a slight smile on his lips. What to do with it now? In Arcadia, just as Yoon Jae-young was considering how to cause chaos with the bamboo spear, a game pop-up alerted. Game administrator requests to summon player. Do you accept? Yoon Jae-young's eyes gleamed cunningly. It seems the officials have concocted their strategy. I'm curious what kind of bargaining chip they will offer in exchange. Pop-up alert. You have been transported to a special space where skills cannot be used. The beautiful elf player in front of him was the official spokesperson for the national server. The beautiful elf greeted politely. "Nice to meet you, Dex." But Yoon Jae-young didn't want to hear those pleasantries. "Please get to the point." The girl's voice carried a captivating melody. "Dex, we are contacting you regarding the bamboo spear. Its existence poses a comprehensive threat to Arcadia. Of course, you obtained the bamboo spear legitimately, so we need your consent. For this, our national server's official department has proposed 3 options. The first is to limit the number of uses of the bamboo spear. The second is to restrict the targets it can be used against. And the third is to recall the bamboo spear and replace it with epic-level equipment. Of course, Lee Mayan was well aware that negotiations require leverage, and it must be something that Yoon Jae-young would find satisfactory. She clicked send. "Here is the compensation from the company. Take a look and then decide which option to choose." Upon seeing the compensation, Yoon Jae-young's eyes lit up. Lee Mayan was gambling, not knowing whether the chips she offered could really be used by Yoon Jae-young. After all, such chips are generally not usable by ordinary players. At this moment, Lee Mayan leaned in close to Yoon Jae-young and whispered affectionately, "If you agree to the conditions this time, our operation team promises that we will never again add unjust patches against certain users. And this condition is my personal hidden trump card to persuade you." Yoon Jae-young understood immediately. "You're an individual. What authority do you have to represent the company?" Lee Mayan with a piercing gaze said, "I bet the name of Arcadia's national server director on my promise to you." How could Yoon Jae-young, the top player in countless games, not know that the national server director of Arcadia was none other than the young Lee Mayan, president who created mythological? Such a figure would come to meet me alone. Lee Mayan's glance and smile captivated everyone. Lee Mayan smiled and said, "Thank you, Dex. Please look after us in the future." Pop-up alert. Agreement reached. The bamboo spear has been changed to a one-time use item. You have received 1 million points of plausibility as a reward, granting you permanent exemption from malicious patches. But what made Yoon Jae-young's heart race was a secret note from goddess Lee Mayan, clearly written with her office phone number. However, what Yoon Jae-young didn't know was that a team in the shadows was already watching him closely. To be specific, they were targeting his ID, Dex. After the bamboo spear battle, Yoon Jae-young's ID undoubtedly became the center of attention. Wherever players gathered, there was talk of Yoon Jae-young's gaming career. Whenever a character dressed in a black robe appeared, it was bound to attract the players' attention. He had feared this, which was why he had acted anonymously before. Yoon Jae-young lamented, "The damned official live broadcast made all my efforts go down the drain." The next moment, Yoon Yoon Jae-young spent 1400 points of plausibility to summon Kephelis, just to escape the buzzing crowd as quickly as possible. Seeing Yoon Jae-young being so generous, Satan was surprised. Master, have you sensed some kind of fear that you would even summon divine descent to help you escape? Pestered by Satan and Michael with questions, Yoon Jae-young felt a headache coming on. Yoon Jae-young explained helplessly, I've been chased by a bunch of deranged stalkers for years. The scene shifts to the place where Yoon Jae-young just appeared, where a majestic man arrives sniffing around. He makes bystanders look up, just to confirm the appearance of the characters. Then she speaks threateningly with a grin, saying everyone must show their faces, or there will be bloodshed. Clearly, they are the crazy fans who have been chasing Yoon Jae-young for years. Their guild is named What Dex Panty because it's short for What is Dex's Panty Color, hence the gathering of more than 10 male and female members, all hardcore secret fans of Yoon Jae-young. Yoon Jae-young felt utterly despondent. Life is tough. Satan finally understood. Master, you have followers yet fear being exposed. Actually, Satan had experience with this. After I became a demon lord, a war for power erupted. In the end, I killed them all by myself, but such malignant challenges never end, and looking back, it took me a long time to create a mask. Pop-up alert. Mythological level equipment Deceiver's Mask. This mask can mimic any person's face according to the wearer's thoughts, and no one can see through to the true face underneath. Yoon Jae-young was quite surprised. Is there such a thing as a mythological level auxiliary equipment? Satan immediately made an offer. If the master needs it, I can lend it to you. Yoon Jae-young saw right through Satan's intentions. So how much plausibility do you want in return? Without hesitation, Satan replied, 100,000 plausibility, and I can lend it to you until you are laid to rest. To be honest, Yoon Jae-young was tempted. Physically shaking off stalkers was more efficient than any other method. Pop-up alert. You have put on the mythological level Deceiver's Mask, and your identity is completely concealed by the false appearance. Meanwhile, the What Dex Panty Guild, unable to find Yoon Jae-young, was very disappointed. Thus, the guild leader ordered anyone who provides a screenshot of Dex's appearance will get 10 gold coins per picture. The confident female mage declared, there's no way Dex can escape our grasp. Just then, a man in a white hair and black robe entered the bustling market. Yoon Jae-young marveled, Satan, this mask really works wonders. Not a single person recognizes me. But at that moment, Yoon Jae-young's attention was drawn to the news in the middle of the road. Recently, Arcadia has been expanding its weapons market, and a special piece of equipment, Erupal's Tears, was auctioned off for as much as 10 billion. Does that mean the mythological level Deceiver's Mask on my face could fetch 100 billion at auction? The next second, Yoon Jae-young walked up to the What Dex Panty Guild leader. The guild leader squinted his eyes and scrutinized him. This guy doesn't look like Dex. Too bad. But why did I think he was Dex for a moment? In fact, Yoon Jae-young was just testing out. Satan, your mask really is excellent. Yoon Jae-young's only complaint about the mask was that the faces it created weren't as handsome as his own. Satan was stunned. Master, don't you read the equipment descriptions? You can choose any person you want to disguise as. Anyone you've ever seen, as long as you desire, can become your disguise. Upon confirming there are no restrictions on the disguise, Yoon Jae-young's lips curved into a sly smile. It feels like my heart can't stay calm anymore. Isn't it perfect to use this mask for the new mission I just updated? New mission, please plunge the world into massive chaos and continually recruit helpers with a specific marker. Additional mission, recruit Cassius. The second recruit, the mission only tells Yoon Jae-young that he is in the mines. As for Cassius, she's definitely roaming the map looking for the lost necklace. And as for the mines, who knows how many players Mikhail Baroness has now exploited into mining slaves. Yoon Jae-young comes here again, not to collect debts from the NPC lord, but for slave number 1 of the Otherworld mountain mine. He is the fastest miner here, yet recognized by the blacksmith ancestor through fate, and he is also the one Yoon Jae-young is guided to in his search for helper's mission. Yoon Jae-young ordered, Goblin Chief, call over slave number 1 for me. Hearing the chief calling him to rest, the slave boy immediately bowed his head, saying he had completed his workload. Yoon Jae-young's lips curled into a mischievous smile. Kid, talk to me. Seeing the boy's astonished face, Yoon Jae-young said bluntly, I am here to grant you freedom. After the boy's lengthy explanation, it turned out he was blinded by the prospect of overnight riches and carelessly signed a servitude contract offered by an NPC, which means he has to be a slave in the game every day. This little guy is really honest. But just then, Michael suddenly noticed something unusual about the mine slave boy. He emits a fire attribute, a scent only those with an absolute affinity for fire can emit. Maybe this little guy is naturally gifted as a blacksmith. Yoon Jae-young then said from a position of authority, Boy, if I give you freedom, would you go through fire and water for me? Without any hesitation, the boy agreed. If you rescue me from this hell, I am willing to devote myself to you. The next second, the chains of the contract binding his character audibly snapped. A pop-up notification read, I have shit hands is registered as an assistant. But when Yoon Jae-young opened the boy's ability panel, his pupils constricted. This kid was actually one of Arcadia's first beta testers. Who exactly are you, kid? The boy shuddered, his face full of surprise. This account was a gift from a very clever friend of mine. It's my secret and even you, big brother, can't know. Yoon Jae-young breathed a sigh of relief. As long as you're not some official son or grandson, it's fine. Then moving on to business, I need to do a performance test on you. What Yoon Jae-young meant by testing was monster killing. This guy's attacks were chaotic, clearly lacking in combat skills, and his crafting skills were nothing special either. It didn't make sense for someone who had been playing since the beta to be this bad. Could it be a punishment related to a hidden class? At this point, Michael stepped forward. Master, for a blacksmith, strength and talent are indispensable, but they must also be able to infuse their soul into the items they forge. However, I believe these are not the most important traits for a blacksmith. What's crucial is the ability to stand before fierce flames, swinging a heavy hammer without giving up. It's that perseverance, that unyielding will and faith that forges truly outstanding equipment after thousands of strikes. This boy's willpower to keep mining in such harsh conditions surpasses anyone else. But Yoon Jae-young was puzzled. Michael, why such high praise for a player all of a sudden? There's a lot involved with this matter. Michael began, but hesitated. Yoon Jae-young quickly interjected. Michael, can you speak freely if there's enough plausibility to cover the consequences for you? Thus, a pop-up notification appeared. You have paid 150,000 points of plausibility. Secrets of the past are revealed to you alone. It turns out, even before the first Holy Demon War, there was a mythical era far more ancient. This era was home to countless deities, each governing their own desires with divine powers and attributes, such as gods of war, justice, time, and so forth. Back then, each of these gods had their own followers. However, due to a certain organization, that era was completely forgotten by humanity, leaving no trace behind. Yoon Jae-young finally understood. So that means a single sect massacred the other sects, claiming their god to be the one true god. And those gods who lost their followers eventually became forgotten deities, with no one even remembering their names. So my little brother is being watched by the oldest fire, referring to the blacksmith god, who is also the creator of the spear that burns all demons. Once a mythological era godsmith, Volcanus. He is the one who's keeping an eye on the boy. Yoon Jae-young finally understood why the mission wanted me to take this kid under my wing. It turns out he's meant to be trained as a legendary godsmith, and the strongest blacksmith race in Arcadia happens to be the dwarf race, but it's unknown where they reside, as the dwarf race hasn't been released in the game Arcadia yet. At this point, Satan volunteered. My subordinates once encountered them underground, though it's a bit far from here, under a desert. After Yoon Jae-young pondered deeply, could it be that Satan is talking about one of the 5 forbidden areas, the Romera Great Desert? It's said that no adventurer who has entered there has come out alive. Yoon Jae-young resolutely entered the desert. Yoon Jae-young took the young man with him, but the boy was so moved by the trash equipment Yoon Jae-young had given him that he cried tears of gratitude. He secretly vowed in his heart, "Big brother, I will follow you for life." Yoon Jae-young felt a bit guilty, considering the young man ended up as a mind slave partly because of his actions. Yoon Jae-young consoled him. "Don't mention it, just consider your severance pay for the mine work." What Yoon Jae-young didn't realize was that trying to navigate the vast desert to find the dwarf race would be nearly impossible. After 3 days and nights in the desert, the young man was sunburned to a crisp. However, Yoon Jae-young felt somewhat cool, having used plausibility to invoke divine descent and summon the celestial spirit Frost Witch. The queen's passive frozen heart effectively turned the host's body into an air conditioner. Occasionally, desert scorpions would pop up, but even if they were level 160 lord monsters, Yoon Jae-young could freeze them with a chant and a wave of his hand. The inexperienced young man would finish them off. However, the young man treated the battles like mining, effortlessly finding leverage points and smashing the ice into shards. His constant looting, while boosting his level from 24 to 72, also earned him the title Effortless Freerider. But wandering aimlessly in the desert wasn't a solution, especially since maintaining the divine descent state to keep the air conditioning running was costly. Satan then came up with a new plan. Since we're looking for dwarves, why not use demon divine descent to summon a dwarf spirit to guide you? Isn't that better than an angelic divine descent? Thus, demon divine descent was initiated, summoning the dwarf spirit Skullbreaker Tyne. Terrifying demonic power instantly filled Yoon Jae-young's limbs. As the dwarf spirit temporarily lived through Yoon Jae-young's body, Tyne felt the scorching heat of the desert, recalling the glory days when he manipulated the hellfire for forging. Yoon Jae-young, baffled by the divine descent, said, "Senior, quickly check which direction the dwarf kingdom is in." Tyne sensed something and was shocked. He could feel the hellfire he once controlled right beneath Yoon Jae-young's feet. Tyne hurriedly pressed his ear to the ground and listened. "Yes, I'm sure there's a dwarf gravel workshop below us." Just then, Yoon Jae-young told the young man to step back 100 meters, and the next instant, a forging hammer thicker than a man appeared in Yoon Jae-young's palm, which was also Tyne's weapon in life. The young man couldn't understand why Yoon Jae-young suddenly wanted a hammer. Yoon Jae-young revealed a mischievous smile. "Of course, I'm going to smash through the desert." The moment the hammer's tip hit the ground, fine cracks spread wildly. You should know this hammer carries a shatter effect. As the line spread, a hole 20 meters in diameter suddenly collapsed. Yoon Jae-young and the young man jumped into into the abyss, falling a kilometer before seeing a glimmer of light. Yoon Jae-young was also surprised the dwarf kingdom was so deep, and at the same time, Tyne felt satisfied seeing the city again, fulfilling a past wish. Once Yoon Jae-young saw the living conditions of the dwarves, he understood why this place was a cradle of talented blacksmiths, forging with lava as a catalyst. Perhaps only dwarves had such a unique resource. Yoon Jae-young's pop-up notification read, "You have discovered a hidden area, achieving legendary status by uncovering the final city of the dwarves, Sand Forge, for the first time. Reporting your findings to your affiliated kingdom can yield great rewards. This accomplishment earns you the title of Persistent Explorer, granting a 10-point increase in stamina and strength, obtaining the dexterity stat, and slightly boosting the efficiency of production-related skills. Additionally, a new quest has been generated as a result of your discovery. New task: encounter the dwarves. Forming a friendly relationship will allow humans to share the Grit Workshop. Forming a hostile relationship will lead to the Grit Workshop being blocked off to humans. Every dwarf bore a look of animosity. It's known that dwarves harbor intense resentment towards other races, but their equipment crafting skills are absolutely top-notch. Seeing their underground city environment, it's clear these folks are insular. Yet, they immediately perceived Yoon Jae-young and his companion as invaders. Facing dwarves charging with hammers, Yoon Jae-young had a method to subdue them. That was to summon the crushing hammer of the dwarf Tyne. As the hammer appeared, the charging dwarves stopped dead in their tracks. Yoon Jae-young smirked condescendingly, now maximizing the energy of Tyne Divine Descent. "I am Tyne. How have you been since my passing?" The tone was unmistakably Lord Tyne's. All smiths dropped their forging hammers and slammed their left hand fiercely onto their right chest. This was the highest form of salute in dwarf culture. Yoon Jae-young mimicked the gesture, placing his hand on his chest. Pop-up notification: trust established with the dwarves. Grit Workshop is now open to you. At that moment, a dwarf child asked Yoon Jae-young, "Is Lord Tyne watching over us from heaven?" Seeing Yoon Jae-young's puzzled look, Satan explained, "This guy liked smashing his opponent's heads with a hammer. Ask Michael if heaven would take him." Tyne quietly urged Yoon Jae-young not to reveal his whereabouts, but the child's hopeful expectation had to be fulfilled. So, Yoon Jae-young told a benign lie. "Lord Tyne is very happy in heaven." The boy's attitude suddenly changed. "Then I want to join the hammer assault team too, to smash the damn elf heads bravely like him." Yoon Jae-young was astounded, thinking they might meet in hell instead. Next, the child's father took Yoon Jae-young and his companion on a tour of the dwarf city. There were blacksmith shops everywhere, and every dwarf was an artisan-level blacksmith, craftsman, or architect. The boy pointed to one of the forges and introduced, "This one is my father's shop. In Grit Workshop, it's known as one of the top 3 master forges. My father's name is Byron, and he is one of the master blacksmiths of the dwarf city." Yoon Jae-young instructed his companion to bow and request apprenticeship. Master Byron pointed to a nearby apprentice blacksmith. "You two will have a contest. In the searing flames of the forge, whoever completes a weapon first will be considered the victor." The apprentice finished crafting a weapon first, producing a magic-grade crude short sword that, while not high-tier, was well crafted. The companion followed suit but produced a crude short sword of the lowest quality that barely resembled a weapon. Byron responded to Yoon Jae-young, "Whether this young man can graduate depends on his destiny. It's fortunate enough that he found a master to teach him." So, Yoon Jae-young pleaded, "Please, Master Byron, it seems it's time for a temporary parting, my friend." Seeing his companion downcast and reluctant to part, Yoon Jae-young asked him to hand over the hammer. Yoon Jae-young inspected the hammer. "This is indeed a basic forging hammer. Have you been using just this to mine and craft equipment?" Yoon Jae-young began tentatively infusing the hammer with plausibility. The next second, a pop-up notification appeared. "Enhancing this equipment will cost 350,000 points of plausibility." Yoon Jae-young was shocked. "Are you kidding me? Enhancing a broken hammer shouldn't cost this much. Little brother, you better be good to your big brother for a lifetime." The bestow plausibility skill activated. Instantly, a pillar of golden light arose from the center of the hammer. At that moment, a deep voice resonated in the young man's ears. "Young man, you still have many shortcomings, and you cannot let my name shine because of you yet. You can only rely on endless effort to compensate for your inadequacies, and like steel, overcome all hardships to become the divine blacksmith who will turn the continent upside down. Finally, let my oldest flame acknowledge you. I'll give you a gift, young fellow. In the name of the blacksmith god Volcanus, I grant you a transformation." At that moment, the ordinary forging hammer visibly evolved into legendary status. The hammer was now named Hammer of Volcanus, with infinite durability and imperviousness to any flame. Crucially, when equipped, it doubled the proficiency in any profession for the wearer. Only those recognized by Volcanus can equip it. After enhancing the Hammer of Volcanus for his apprentice, Yoon Jae-young advised him to diligently train and enhance his blacksmith skills, hoping not to disgrace this legendary forging hammer. The apprentice vowed that if he becomes the strongest blacksmith, he will surely repay Yoon Jae-young for his kindness. At this moment, Yoon Jae-young's pop-up notification read, "Complete trust obtained, helper system unlocked. In the future, you can obtain plausibility created by your helper." To date, Yoon Jae-young Jae-young has acquired 3 helpers: the future duelist mage Angelina, the future weapon master Cassius, and the future master blacksmith I Have Shit Hands. Yoon Jae-young is unaware that in the future, these 3 will emerge in Arcadia as players notorious for their villainy. Yet currently, Yoon Jae-young has something to verify: the extent of the disguise effect of the Deceiver's Mask. That is the mythological level Deceiver's Mask. Given the popularity of Arcadia, related live broadcasts have become incredibly diverse. The hottest channel naturally involves hunting in Arcadia. However, today the female broadcaster's challenge is to team up with players over level 100 and conquer the domain of the slimes. For the sake of the broadcast, she urgently needs to find a novice to join the team. This way, she can deliberately create a scenario where she appears to rescue a lower-level user. However, disguised Yoon Jae-young suddenly appears, and the broadcaster quickly approaches him, saying in a playful tone, "Hey, do you want to come catch slimes with us? I'm a level 100 plus mage, and he's a ranked user at level 134. After pondering for a moment, Yoon Jae-young flashed a broad smile. "No problem, let's team up." Then he thought to himself, "A celebrity? Huh, I have a plan I want to try out." Satan and Michael are puzzled. "Master, why waste time here? Moreover, these 2 are definitely inviting you for their benefit." Yoon Jae-young's reasons are twofold. Firstly, to confirm the effectiveness of the Deceiver's Mask, and secondly, he has his own plans. In order to pull him into the team, the mage woman asked Yoon Jae-young for his account ID. Yoon Jae-young replied, "My nickname is I Like Choco Cake." The girl clicked search, and indeed she was able to send a team invitation to this ID. Under the mask, Yoon Jae-young smirked. "It seems this mask can even disguise the ID. If I can make good use of this mask in the future, causing trouble will be virtually risk-free." Soon, the trio arrived at slime territory, each with their own agenda. The warrior thought about how to tank the monsters, the broadcaster thought about how to use the battle to boost her image, and Yoon Jae-young wondered, why are the little slimes just as cute as before? As the battle commenced, the live broadcast's chat became lively. The broadcaster continuously cast spells to fend off the slimes, while the warrior protected the 2 of them, and Yoon Jae-young slacked at the back of the team. Suddenly, the number of slimes in front of them surged, overwhelming their defenses and rushing towards Yoon Jae-young. Seizing the opportunity to boost her public image, the broadcaster immediately rushed in front of Yoon Jae-young to cast a protective spell. The slimes were annihilated, but the broadcaster was left in a critically low health state. The warrior still stood at the forefront, using a rare shield skill to knock back and stun the slimes. The chat exploded exactly as the broadcaster had hoped. The broadcaster secretly rejoiced, "As long as I can set a good image, a few more such assaults would be fine." But Yoon Jae-young was inspired by this. "It seems broadcasting isn't a bad idea for me either. I could use this opportunity to gather a following." Just then, the warrior and broadcaster finished off the wave of slimes. Seeing the female mage still broadcasting, Yoon Jae-young immediately jumped into the frame and asked, "Why don't we try challenging higher-level monsters, like the orc territories, for example?" Yoon Jae-young's bold statement was immediately ridiculed by the viewers, but that was exactly the effect Yoon Jae-young wanted. "If the 2 of you are too scared to go, then I'll go alone to conquer it." A pop-up notification appears. I Like Choco Cake has left the party. Then, he turns to the camera and says, "By the way, if you guys want to see me solo the orc settlement, come to my stream. My channel is called Destroyer's Daily Logs." As soon as he says this, the chat room explodes, not because Yoon Jae-young is particularly famous, but because the account Destroyer's Daily Logs is shrouded in mystery. With just 2 videos, the channel had gained 800,000 followers. People hurried to check it out and found that the owner was indeed live streaming. The female streamer was watching her own channel, but suddenly found herself speechless, because the online viewer count in her streaming room plummeted from 5,000 to 0 in the blink of an eye. All her viewers had been swept away by Yoon Jae-young. As soon as Yoon Jae-young started streaming, he faced skepticism. "What can a level 52 do in the orc settlement?" Yoon Jae-young responded, "I'll have friends helping me." The next second, Yoon Jae-young equipped the title Savior of the Slimes and called out to the Slime Queen, "Friends, come over here." In the next moment, the Slime Queen, along with her kind, rushed towards Yoon Jae-young and hugged him tightly. The viewers were stunned. Despite being just a level 52 newbie, he was standing on the shoulders of the Slime Queen. The chat began to wonder how he managed to get that title. Yoon Jae-young then announced, "Alright, friends, let's head to the orc settlement now." All the slimes in the territory began a massive assault on the orcs. Due to numerical superiority, most of the orc minions were killed by the slimes. At this moment, a level 120 orc legion commander emerged. Although the Slime Queen was larger, she was 20 levels lower. Facing the onslaught of the Slime Queen, the diminutive orc legion commander remained undaunted. He activated the skill Wild Charge, and the queen was knocked back 100 meters. Yet Yoon Jae-young smirked deviously, immediately spending 3,000 plausibility points to enhance the Slime Queen. A pop-up indicated, for 5 minutes, all attributes of the Slime Queen increased by 30%. The next second, the corrosive slime from the Slime Queen directly covered the orc legion commander. It wasn't that he couldn't avoid the corrosive slime, but rather, the range of the Slime Queen's slime suddenly exploded. The pop-up read, Orc Legion commander has been defeated. Yoon Jae-young seized the moment to ask for followers. Hope to bring you all another visual feast next time. As the Slime Queen's corrosive liquid covered the entire Orc territory, only 1% of the Orc forces remained. The slime population reached 99%. A pop-up announced, Slime race has taken over the Orc tribe's territory, starting reconstruction to create an environment suitable for slimes. Slime race revival. Slime levels will be adjusted, and their capabilities will significantly increase. Slime guards at level 120 have emerged. Yoon Jae-young then reassured, now, it seems unlikely that many can catch slimes, but the evolution wasn't over yet. The originally level 100 Slime Queen evolved into a new entity, a level 200 Slime Monarch. The word terrifying swept across the screen again. Though the Slime Queen's size decreased, her new skill Shockwave could cover an entire 3 kilometers radius, causing even level 100 players to suffer a 30% drop in energy and a 50% reduction in movement speed. Yoon Jae-young's title Servitor of the Slimes was changed to Saint of the Slimes in gratitude from the Slime Monarch. All slimes would now unconditionally obey Yoon Jae-young's commands. This day's events spread across the official forums, prompting an emergency meeting by the national server officials. But Yoon Jae-young had legitimately utilized the game mechanics, and they could not sanction him. A few curious top-ranked players ventured into the Slime's second territory, only to be annihilated by the Slime army. Actually, even a level 120 Slime's physique isn't that terrifying, but the real horror is that there are 120,000 such slimes. The once weakest slime now possesses the capability to engulf the continent of Arcadia. All game players have started paying attention to the slimes, and naturally, they also focus on their master. Overnight, Destroyer's daily logs skyrocketed from its original 800,000 subscriptions to 36 million. Yoon Jae-young's mailbox was flooded in an instant. Yoon Jae-young called Iplis to inquire about signing a contract. Then, Yoon Jae-young arrived at the Iplis Entertainment building, where a middle-aged uncle warmly greeted him. At that moment, Yoon Jae-young was wearing a mask and hat to conceal his identity. Do you have other content creators who have a partnership with your company? Because I would like to hand over video editing to you and hope to see some examples. The uncle panicked instantly. We are actually a newly established company. We definitely won't let you down. All our staff are experts who have gained a lot of experience in the marketing and promotion department at GM Group. It turned out that the video Yoon Jae-young posted caused the entire marketing and promotions department at GM Group to be disbanded, and this uncle was an employee who had been laid off and then started this company. Initially, he had no confidence in signing Yoon Jae-young, especially since their startup had no track record. Unexpectedly, Yoon Jae-young agreed. However, I have one condition. Under no circumstances may any information about my identity be provided to anyone, not family, nor friends, no one. After hearing this, the uncle happily agreed. After all, the other party was the mysterious player who shook GM Group. After that, Yoon Jae-young took off his disguise. Then let's sign the contract. Then, the uncle played the video Yoon Jae-young had sent. The video was of the city of dwarfs. After editing, the video was uploaded and immediately caused a sensation. So there are such areas, never seen before. Dwarfs? Wait, where is this? Wow, equipment made by dwarfs. But it seems a lot of content has been cut out. The secrets of the dungeon, once released, directly surged to 37 million subscribers. Then Yoon Jae-young contacted the uncle again. I have sent another video to your mailbox. Can you edit that segment in and upload it together? Please do not hide any information related to the equipment shown in the video. The uncle opened the video and spit out his coffee. It was the mythical equipment, Vulcan's hammer. Once the video of this equipment was released, Arcadia headquarters immediately called an emergency meeting, and countless users dropped their daily tasks to flock to the rumored desert, eagerly seeking the treasures hidden within the desert. Alice, the intelligent brain, issues tasks based on real-time situations and mediates the relationship between dwarfs and elves. At this moment, Yoon Jae-young is preparing to win over the elves, while Satan must return to the underworld due to urgent matters. After Satan leaves, Michael reveals a sinister smile. It turns out that it was Michael who had sent someone to the underworld to create chaos and draw Satan away. Yoon Jae-young, puzzled, said, "Why go to such lengths? An incident that devastated the sanctuary of Pian Mountain. You haven't forgotten, right? Anyway, you were deceived by the damn devil, right? Any evil deed committed in ignorance can be forgiven, right?" After hearing this, Yoon Jae-young's mouth twitched. So that's how it is. But it seems Satan tried to stop me. At this time, Yoon Jae-young arrived at Logarithmic Amel. According to information provided by the dwarfs, the elves are somewhere around here. Indeed, it really is a good place. Earlier, when Yoon Jae-young asked Michael about using the souls of elves for a divine descent, the response he received was, if elves die, they do not go to heaven or the demon world, but all go to the elf realm, so it is not possible to use the souls of elves for divine descent. However, Michael thought of another method. There are no elf souls in heaven, but there are humans who had a close relationship with them. The divine bow Amelia. Amelia points towards the forest ahead. Passing through this ancient forest will lead to the town of the elves. But be careful, as the fierce spirits of ancient trees inhabit this area. Sure enough, upon entering the forest, they encountered the spirit of the ancient tree. Yoon Jae-young immediately activated Amelia's passive skill. The eyes that see through everything are activated. Ignoring the opponent's defense, an arrow pierced through the body of the ancient tree spirit. Yoon Jae-young pressed the attack, activating the skill Heavy Rain, and a rain of arrows fell, strangling the spirit of the ancient tree. Yoon Jae-young continued on his way, and in the darkness, two elves watched him. As he reached the edge of the elf's domain, Amelia pleaded, "Please check if the elf named Pale is still alive. If he is, please kill him in the most painful way. Cruelly finish off that guy. Pale's life was supposed to end at the hands of the dwarfs, but I saved him, truly resolved to die. With that as a turning point, we made an eternal vow of love, but that treacherous guy betrayed me, always mingling with other elves. Otherwise, you don't have to kill him, just beat him until he's barely alive, hanging by a thread. That would work too. Please do me this favor." Recalling painful memories, Amelia started sobbing. Yoon Jae-young verbally agreed, but internally he was exasperated. Heavenly beings are all neurotic. At this moment, the system also popped up a mission: make Elf Pale dead or dying. Michael then flew out and sighed. The lifespan of the elf body is long, and there is no concept of being completely faithful to one person like humans do. Well, I'm sorry, I asked too much, but I don't have the confidence to face Pale again. As Amelia's feelings changed, the mission that had just been issued was deleted. Suddenly, an arrow flew straight towards them, striking the ground nearby. A group of female elves then came out with bows and arrows, and Yoon Jae-young was blindfolded and taken away. Yoon Jae-young had intended to use this opportunity to figure out the location of their main base, but he was blindfolded and had his hands tied for over an hour. Now he had completely lost his sense of direction. Then, Yoon Jae-young was brought before the World Tree. After the elves chanting, a portal to an elf settlement was opened. Legendary achievement. We were the first to discover the elves' haven, where the World Tree is short. The efficiency of archery attacks slightly increases. Affinity with nature increases slightly. Spirit affinity has been added. Mythical achievement. I witnessed the World Tree, which is only talked about in legends and tales. Obtain the person who witnessed the myth. Maximum health permanently increases by 1000. Yoon Jae-young was thrilled. That's the World Tree. Yggdrasil. However, what's the deal with that sword? Satan, what on earth have you been doing? Sure enough, as soon as Yoon Jae-young entered the elven territory, he was called ugly by the elves. Mom, he's so ugly. Are all humans like this? He looks really fierce. At that moment, the queen of the elves, Melissa, stepped forward. I just want to ask you one thing. The archery you use against monsters, how did you learn it? After hearing that it was Amelia's archery, the elves instantly began murmuring, impossible. Hasn't she been dead for a long time? Then the queen took Yoon Jae-young aside for a private talk. Yoon Jae-young could only try to bluff his way through. Yes, she died hundreds of years ago, and I didn't learn directly from her. You can think of it as a branch of the archery she founded. That Amelia, what kind of person was she? Why does everyone seem to welcome her so coldly? She really was a crazy woman. She would pester any good-looking elf she saw. She was particularly obsessed with an elf named Pale, to a frightening extent. When she was drunk, she went to him and threatened to shoot him with an arrow if he didn't marry her. Because of her, I waited 40 years, and only after she died did I finally get together with Pale. Then Yoon Jae-young took out a trade agreement document. Let me introduce you. I am a representative peace delegation from the human race who visited Sand of Forge. This is not just a proposal for trading goods, but a peace treaty between races. The queen was very surprised. It's incredible that the dwarfs, who have such a strong sense of racial superiority, would make such a proposal, but I am very sorry. I think I cannot accept this proposal. Yoon Jae-young was shocked. What is the reason? I think this issue should not be known to humans. If you have said all you need to, then you should go back for now. Mission alert. Peace treaty with elves broken down. The peace mission failed. Just as Yoon Jae-young was at a loss, Michael flew out. How? My suggestion. Would you like to take a listen? Originally, one day, a war suddenly covered Arcadia with blood. Holy demon war. It was the World Tree, not any of the tribes, that saved countless lives that were bleeding to death. Skill area declared. It is impossible for any creature to use attack skills within that range. The power of the World Tree that causes combat power-related values to plummet. Thanks to this skill, battles around the World Tree were naturally avoided. The realm of the World Tree became a haven for many weak people who prayed for the war of transcendent beings to end. However, the Holy Demon War did not end so easily, and Deathbringer, the magic of the demonic world that engulfs everything in darkness and corrupts it. For some reason, that horrible object ended up getting stuck in the pillar of the World Tree. So, since then, the elves have been busy protecting the World Tree. Therefore, trade that involves the risk of exposing the location of the World Tree to the outside world is unlikely to be an option for the elves. That's why the queen rejected Dex's offer. Now I understand. So you want me to destroy that Deathbringer, is this it? Thus, Yoon Jae-young again came before the queen, requesting her to take him to one last place. Then Yoon Jae-young arrived near the World Tree. Somewhat helplessly, Michael, the so-called artifact of the demonic world, shouldn't be something that a guy like me can just destroy, right? Michael rummaged through his pocket and pulled out an artifact. The end of eternity. Artifact against artifact. That's the simple form formula. Then Yoon Jae-young raised the holy sword, and the nearby queen was shocked. The end of eternity. Why on earth is that sword on this continent? No, can you tell me how it is in your hands? Just think of it as having some connections with the heavens. It feels like more than just some connections, doesn't it? Don't you think this answer is nonsensical from a common sense perspective? That sword is a holy sword well known among elves. You're not even of a holy class, yet you hold it. What exactly is going on? Well, I think this question should probably not be known to the elves. That's what I just said. Rather than that, I would like to continue discussing the previous negotiation topic. What do you think about slightly modifying the conditions? You are hesitating about whether to interact with the dwarfs. No, the reason you have been hiding the existence of elves is because of the world tree, right? Please sign a peace treaty with the dwarfs and start friendly exchanges with them. If you promise to do this, I can liberate the world tree from the darkness that has been consuming it, gaining complete freedom. If, as you just said, you, a human, can eliminate the evil root consuming the world tree and rescue our mother from her eternal suffering to bring her back to us again, in the name of Melissa de Artemis, the queen who leads the Green Leaf clan, I will accept all your suggestions. Then Yoon Jae-young put on a mask and started a live stream. Nice to see you all again, everyone. Today's content is about saving the world tree. Yoon Jae-young leaped up with his sword and struck down. Deathbringer senses a deadly threat. It exerts its powers for its own protection. Then Yoon Jae-young was forcefully repelled back, and Deathbringer was pulled out from the world tree, seeking a new host to consume. Gigante Ogre of the Great Forest Emil then quickly flew towards Gigante Ogre. Boss Monster, a stiff warrior of majesty, has been created. Seeing this, the elves launched their attacks. A barrage of attacks hit the boss's head, but didn't harm it at all, instead provoking the boss to anger. With one swing, the elves who had just attacked were all swept away, turned to ashes. The comments boiled over. Damn, are we and the streamer playing the same game? Yoon Jae-young was also stunned. I didn't expect things to get this big. How about we call Satan over while it's still not too late? Satan should be able to calm it down, right? However, Michael flatly refused. No, the stinking bats are restrained precisely because they lost that artifact. If they were to regain it, they would certainly become arrogant again. Lord Dex, let's not rely on the stinking bats. Let's just. At this time, at the Arcadia Korea branch, a customer service representative pointed at the screen, sweating profusely. An executive leaned in for a closer look and was stunned, a six-winged angel reappearing on Earth. It turns out Michael proposed to use Yoon Jae-young's body to descend personally and directly address the current situation. Yoon Jae-young, hearing this, got a bit panicked. You're going to show up personally, but wouldn't that consume a lot of plausibility? Let's call Satan instead. Let him calm down, Deathbringer. You don't think I'm going to use up your plausibility, do you? Is your little bit of plausibility enough for me to descend? Despite how I look, my body is also very precious. Don't worry. After all, this is my plan, and it's my responsibility that it ended up like this, so let the heavens clean up the mess. Reluctantly, Yoon Jae-young could only compromise. Is that so? Since you say so, then let's do it your way. The next second, a beam of golden light descended from the sky, and the six-winged angel Michael arrived on Earth. Michael raised her holy sword and gently swept it across. A circle of holy light hundreds of meters in diameter descended upon the Earth. Yoon Jae-young, seeing this, was astonished. Are we really using the same equipment? When the holy light dispersed, the land around the boss had turned into lava, but the boss still had not fallen. Deathbringer has sensed a deadly threat. Deathbringer enters a defensive stance, harvests the host's remaining life force. Seeing this, Michael became even more excited. Oh, a mere stinking bat's broken blade dares to resist? How arrogant. I want to see how long you can hold out. Michael struck again with his sword, and Deathbringer finally could not withstand it and cracked open. The power of destruction is activated. Absolute judgment. The energy permeates away at the point. The purification of the world tree infected with evil has been completed. The favorability of the elves increases to the maximum. You have acquired the hero of the elves. Obtain the guardian of the world tree. At this moment in the underworld, Satan was suffering from a headache. He sensed that Deathbringer had been destroyed. Damn that stinking bird. Meanwhile, Michael was collecting the fragments to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands and being used for evil purposes. At that moment, Satan, furious, burst out. Hey Michael, let's give it a real try with me. At the Arcadia Korea branch customer service department, due to the false information previously spread by Yoon Jae-young, the customer service department was in chaos, overwhelmed with countless complaints. Many people, seeking information and tasks related to elves and dwarfs, undertook various strange attempts with the false information. Of course, they ultimately achieved nothing and their dissatisfaction grew. The uncle was also troubled by this issue, and just then Yoon Jae-young called, asking the uncle to publicly disclose the locations of the elves and dwarfs. The uncle was shocked and quickly advised that it was not appropriate, suggesting instead not to disclose the information. How about we produce and upload some videos about the dwarf and elf villages? What do you think about that? No, why should we upload that kind of boring content? Besides, even if they knew the locations of the villages, it would be difficult for them to obtain what they want after going there. At that moment, Satan was still venting his anger. You backstabbing, chicken-winged bastard. Today I'm going to have fried chicken. dragon. The two of them started fighting again. Yoon Jae-young, looking exasperated, suddenly received a request from the World Tree for a conversation. Yoon Jae-young was somewhat shocked. The World Tree actually had self-awareness. Immediately, a green light rose from Yoon Jae-young's feet, and his vision became blurry. A little girl with green hair appeared before Yoon Jae-young. Are you the World Tree? Many names have been given to me by others, but most of the existing life forms call me by this name. First of all, I must thank you. Thanks to you, I was able to rid myself of its evil magic. Then why are you seeking me? To express gratitude is just one of the reasons. Then the little girl moved closer to Yoon Jae-young, realizing that Yoon Jae-young was just an ordinary person. To thank Yoon Jae-young, the World Tree produced a golden apple. I have seen your potential, so I ask for your help with something. The voice of the World Tree conveyed a plea. A new mission was established. The continent of Arcadia was originally a whole, but now it has been divided into many parts. The World Tree, having awakened from its slumber, hopes to merge the fragmented continent back into a whole. The material needed is the heart of a dragon. Yoon Jae-young asked in shock, are you saying you want me to find the heart of a giant dragon? That's right, the World Tree confirmed his question. Arcadia was a vast whole until the Holy Demon War, after which the World Tree fell into slumber and the continent split. Now, with the awakening of the World Tree, she wishes to restore the originally unified continent. You want me to do what? Merge the entire continent? Yoon Jae-young's voice was filled with doubt. Yes, the voice of the World Tree became gentle. When you feel you have enough strength, bring me what I need. That is the heart of a dragon. I have one more request. I need the heart of an ancient dragon or older, otherwise, the effect won't be significant. Yoon Jae-young was momentarily speechless, unable to believe this seemingly impossible task. Before he could react, the dream suddenly ended and he was transported out. When he awoke, he found himself surrounded by several elves. They told him that he had been asleep for a long time. Just then, a queen walked in. Seeing Yoon Jae-young awake, she happily grabbed his hand. The World Tree has awakened. It's over. Around them, many elves danced around the World Tree, tears sparkling in their eyes. Yoon Jae-young, holding the golden apple in his hand, couldn't help but wonder if it was all just a dream. Then, he asked the queen, "Queen, do you have a dragon's heart?" The queen was shocked after hearing this, clearly surprised by the request. Currently, major forums are abuzz with discussions about the specific locations of dwarfs and elves, but the officials of Arcadia have explicitly stated that they will not disclose the locations of the elf and dwarf villages. They hope that players will find joy in the natural adventure and exploration. This strategy by the gaming company has intensified discussions among players. Thus, players began to search more actively for traces of elves and dwarfs. Meanwhile, the queen announced to her people that, due to the awakening of the World Tree, a large number of humans would be entering their village in the future. She declared, historically, our race and humans, who are not particularly attractive, have not interacted deeply, but our World Tree has awakened. It was Lord Dex who helped her recover. To repay his kindness, we should open our doors this year and welcome humans to come and go. At this time, a clansman asked, "Your Majesty the Queen, can we treat those humans who are too ugly differently?" The Queen's face flushed slightly as she answered, "That is an unavoidable matter." At the same time, the GM Guild began actively searching for the locations of the Dwarf Underground City and the Elven villages. They found a possible location for the Dwarf Underground City through professional adventurers, but the price was very high, reaching up to 100 million. Although it was annoying, the GM Guild had to spend a huge amount of money to buy this information. If they could find these villages first, they could ensure a monopolistic position and trade with them. The GM Guild was determined to be the first to find the dwarf village. Just then, a new video was uploaded on the Destroyer's Daily Life channel, directly revealing the locations of the dwarf and elven villages. In Arcadia, there are various professions, and players generally categorize these into two main types: combat and non-combat. In detail, each profession has its own characteristics and specializations, meaning that the developers have already considered balance when setting the professions. No profession is regarded as superior or inferior. However, in all games, there are inevitably some professions that are more popular and some that are not favored. Explorers are exactly the profession that people despise. They think that this profession relies on luck to earn substantial rewards. At this moment, an explorer carrying a backpack was very displeased, as many people looked down on explorers, but there was nothing he could do about it. Even his friends didn't understand him. A group of people mocked him, giving him all sorts of advice, but he just wanted a good gaming experience. He retorted, "Is it really that strange? I don't understand why they care about efficiency in the game. Just wait and see. One day I will surprise everyone." Spring for the explorer had arrived. He found the entrance to the Dwarf Underground City. After entering the underground city, he was ecstatic, but suddenly a net caught him, and he fell into a trap. A group of dwarfs surrounded him. "Arrogant human, you dare to break into our underground passages. What are your intentions? To steal our creations?" The explorer broke out in a cold sweat, pleading with them to release him. "I'm not some weirdo. I'm just an ordinary explorer, really." Despite his pleas, the dwarfs were unyielding and decided to lock him in the deepest part of the underground, never to see sunlight again. The explorer was at a loss for words. "Am I going to be locked up here forever?" however, suddenly, they began whispering among themselves, and then they removed the net from him. The dwarfs apologized. Sorry about that. The incident happened so suddenly, we didn't look closely and didn't realize you have our bloodline. No human could be almost as tall as us. You clearly have our bloodline. The explorer was speechless, so that was it. Meanwhile, the uncle was looking distressed as he sat across from the GM Guild's minister. The uncle was very displeased. He had been dismissed by the GM Guild before. Just tell me what you're here for. At that moment, the other party presented a document. The GM group wanted to acquire the company he founded. We will offer you a treatment at the level of an executive director, which is already very generous. The uncle snorted disdainfully. Is it because I like chocolate cake? Recently, many people have been inquiring about his identity information. GM Group has always liked to engage in distasteful activities, so we could never join you. Go away. I would rather die than give you our client's information. The other party left in anger. You are making a big mistake. Countless companies have already started digging for his information. It's just about finding hidden villages. Do you think those promotional videos will last? Unbeknownst to them, the uncle just laughed. What are you talking about? It seems you haven't really watched those videos. Your company operates really well. Soon after, the locations of the dwarf and elf villages were revealed in a video. Players began visiting these places, which sparked intense discussions in the evening. Most of the debate focused on the different attitudes of the races towards the appearance of players. Elves would immediately send away those who were not good looking, while dwarfs tended to welcome players who were ugly and short. Players who successfully entered the villages shared their experiences, including obtaining exquisite equipment from the dwarfs and magical skills inherited from the elves. The characteristics of the two races were very distinct, but because of the strict entry conditions, players did not have much choice. Surprisingly, this change not only affected the player community, but as various discussions and information exploded, the entire continent of Arcadia also experienced a wind of transformation. On Arcadia's forums, the discussion was focused on a series of strange incidents, including the bamboo spear incident and the slime destroys novice village incident. Yoon Jae-young, observing these discussions, he felt somewhat wronged. Sorry, I'm innocent too. I was just completing that plausibility mission. Oh well, what do they know? I'm also trying to make a living.